Why high achieving women sabotage promising relationships? What if that fun, easygoing honeymoon period could grow into a secure relationship with a quality man instead of winding up in yet another situationship where you find yourself confused and wondering why won't he commit when things were so good at the beginning? It sure can, but not if you continue doing the same things time after time. Let me ask you something. Does it sound familiar? You meet someone promising, the early dates are effortless. He's clearly interested, calling, planning, meaningful time together, showing consistent attention. But then, as your feelings grow stronger, something shifts. Not in his behavior, but in yours. You start carefully crafting text messages, overthinking his responses, managing how you appear, wondering if you are being too much or not enough. You might even pull back slightly to make sure you don't seem needy. And then mysteriously, the relationship that was flowing naturally begins to feel strained. He stops calling so often, no more good morning sweet text or eagerness to see you. You feel that same old feelings. Here we go again, yet another one with the same script. You wonder what's wrong with all the men and then even start questioning your own attractiveness. Why do men stop pursuing you when you start falling for them? Not everyone is the same. There are men who are players and who never want anything serious. They enjoy the novelty of new romance and can't deal with something deeper and real. So, as soon as things get serious, they want to pull away. They are doing you a favor, believe me. There are other men that become scared for various reasons. They may realize they're becoming attached. They may be afraid of messing things up, or they start feeling things are happening too quickly. And they want to slow it down so they can feel in control again. The key is knowing how to determine who's a player and who's just a bit scared. We have a special integrated methodology to help women with that. But regardless of where he comes from, he senses something has changed with you too. The connection that felt so authentic now feels calculated because when you show anxiousness, it confirms to him that things are going too fast and that he's not safe to keep investing his feelings. He may have some past relationships in which he felt controlled. So when he met you, it was amazing. Neither one of you were attached, so things were easygoing. Let me know if you experienced something similar in relationships. And eventually, what started with such promise fades away, leaving you wondering what went wrong. So, this is how you start this dance with him, hoping this old, amazing dynamic from the beginning will come back. But it never does if you continue doing the same push and pull, anxious, avoidant dance with him. It just winds up spiraling downward until the relationship loses any capacity for joy. Like if you chew the same gum every day, no flavor or sweetness. If you're nodding your head right now, I want you to know you are not alone and this isn't a character flaw. It's a protective mechanism that stayed with you from early childhood, making sure you don't get hurt. Understanding this pattern could completely transform your experience of love, dating, and relationships. Today, we are going to explore why so many brilliant, accomplished women find themselves sabotaging relationships right when they are getting good, and most importantly, how to break free from this exhausting cycle. Let's understand what's actually happening when you shift from natural connection, easygoing flow, or fun, as men would describe, to anxious and overfunctioning. When you initially meet someone, your authentic self shows up. You're present, responsive, and not particularly invested in the outcome. This genuine quality is incredibly attractive. It's the real you, unfiltered by anxiousness that stems from fear of rejection. But as connection deepens and your heart begins to hope, that's when the old programming activates. Suddenly, the relationship matters. It holds potential for both profound fulfillment and devastating disappointment. And your nervous system, shaped by early experiences, goes into protection mode. This is where overfunctioning begins. You analyze his words looking for hidden meanings. You carefully manage your responses to maintain his interest. You hold back experiencing needs or concerns for fear of seeming too demanding. You might even work harder in other areas of your life to compensate for the vulnerability you're feeling. You become hypervigilant about any signs of his interest waning. I call this the perfectionist paradox because the more perfect you try to be, the further you move from the authentic woman he was attracted to in the first place. But the most important question is, what's beneath the perfectionism that causes accomplished women to struggle in romantic relationships? The answer lies in a specific kind of attachment experience that many high achieving women share. Think back to your childhood for a moment. I'm not going to ask if you had a good or bad childhood. That's too simplistic. Instead, I want to ask, was there consistent space for your emotional needs and feelings? For many successful women, the answer reveals a pattern. Perhaps your parents valued achievement, responsibility, and self sufficiency. Maybe there was love, but it felt more connected to your accomplishments than your emotional experience. Or perhaps experiencing needs was subtly discouraged. Don't be so sensitive, or figure it out yourself, you're smart. In some families, parents were working hard, stressed, or simply not emotionally available. The message wasn't explicit, but you learned, don't be a burden, be easy, take care of yourself. So what did you do? You adopted brilliantly. You became the capable one, the responsible one, the one who excels, the one who doesn't need much on the outside. Inside, you most likely find yourself yearning for deeper connection, for someone to see and understand the real you. This is the missing experience if you're attuned to yourself. That can be hard when you are focused on meeting others' expectations. You don't learn how to understand yourself. This adaptation served you well in many contexts. It helped you succeed academically, professionally, and in managing life's challenges. But in romantic relationships, it creates the painful pattern of overfunctioning and losing yourself in a relationship. Because here's the truth, deep down, a part of you received the message that your natural emotional needs might be too much, that being wanted and loved requires being perfect, high functioning, and low maintenance. Here is something fascinating. While you might appear anxiously attached on the surface, worrying about the relationship, seeking reassurance through overfunctioning, there is often a deeper avoidant pattern underneath. This might surprise you, but your overfunctioning isn't just anxiety, it's actually a sophisticated avoidance strategy. By focusing on what you can do, manage, and control in the relationship, you are unconsciously avoiding the much scarier experience of simply being seen, being vulnerable, being emotionally dependent on someone else's responses to you. When you overfunction, you are actually protecting yourself from the core fear. What if I show my authentic needs and desires and I discover I'm too much? What if I let myself need this person and they disappear? This creates a painful cycle. The deeper your feelings grow, the harder you work to be perfect in the relationship, which prevents the very authenticity needed for real connection. Is this crazy? Let me know what you think. Let me share a story about my client Rebecca that might resonate with you. Rebecca is a successful marketing executive who repeatedly found herself in the same pattern. She'd meet someone promising, enjoy the early dating phase, but as soon as she started developing real feelings, she'd transform from relaxed and authentic to what she called her relationship project manager mode. She'd analyze his communication patterns, strategically plan her availability, and constantly evaluate the relationship's progress. The men would initially increase their pursuit in response to her pulling back, but eventually they'd express feelings something was off or missing. The relationship would dissipate. During our work together, Rebecca realized that this pattern connected directly to her childhood. As the daughter of a mother with unpredictable emotional states and a father focused on achievement, she'd learned that emotional safety came through performance and management, like walking on eggshells, not vulnerability. Her breakthrough came when she recognized that her overfunctioning wasn't just anxiety, it was actually how she avoided the terror of being emotionally exposed and dependent on someone else's response. Does any part of Rebecca's story feel familiar to you? The question becomes, how do you break this pattern? How do you move from perfectionist overfunctioning to authentic connection? Imagine a man pursuing you constantly, even after the initial period of excitement ends, telling you that he is falling in love with you and he wants to take this to the next level while also waiting patiently to make your decision. The transformation isn't about adding new strategies or skills. It's about the courage to do something different, to stay present and authentic even when your attachment system is screaming at you to manage, control, and perfect. Here's where we begin. First, recognition in real time. Start noticing exactly when the shift happens from natural connection to anxious overfunctioning. What were you feeling right before the shift? What thoughts triggered the change? This awareness itself begins to create new possibilities. Second, understand your specific attachment triggers. For some women, the trigger is when they start feeling hopeful. For others, it's when the man expresses stronger interest. Some are triggered by the first minor disappointment. Knowing your particular trigger points helps you prepare for them. Third, practice the art of receiving. This is often the hardest part for high achieving women, allowing yourself to receive attention, care, and love without immediately trying to earn it or reciprocate. Start with small moments of simply receiving a compliment or gesture without managing the other person's experience. Fourth, develop a compassionate relationship with your anxiety. When you feel the urge to overfunction, can you acknowledge the frightened part of you that's trying to create safety the only way it knows how? Can you hold that anxiety with understanding rather than judgment? And finally, learn how to communicate your needs, feelings, and boundaries from the self-compassionate place of self-love while giving him the benefit of doubt. Don't allow old negative experiences to make you punish your new partner for them. This is art, and you develop this as you are more in touch with your feelings and needs. When Rebecca began applying these principles, something remarkable happened. She met James, and when she noticed herself shifting into overfunctioning mode around the third week of dating, she did something brave. She told him about her pattern. Instead of carefully managing her image, she let him see her authentic struggle. She shared that she really liked him and noticed herself getting anxious and overthinking things. Rather than pushing him away, this vulnerability created deeper emotional intimacy. She allowed him to get to know her, and he felt a desire to protect her. Men love to make women happy. Today, Rebecca and James are engaged. She still feels the old urges to overfunction when relationships challenges arise, but now she recognizes them as signals to move towards authenticity rather than control. As we close, I want you to feel the truth of what I'm about to say. The part of you that overfunctions in relationships developed for a good reason. It was trying to protect you from emotional harm in environments where your natural needs might not have been welcomed or met consistently. But now this protective strategy is keeping you from the very connection you desire. The path forward isn't about becoming a different person. It's about having the courage to let the authentic woman who shows up in early dates remain present even as your heart becomes more invested. I know this isn't easy. It means feeling emotions that you're overfunctioning has helped you avoid. It means risking being seen in your full humanity, needs, desires, fears, and all. It means surrendering the illusion of control that perfectionism promises. But on the other side of this transformation is something remarkable, the possibility of being truly known and loved, not for your performance, but for your essence. Imagine what it would feel like to know in your bones that you don't have to earn love through perfection. Imagine the relief of letting go of the exhausting management of every interaction. Imagine a relationship where you feel free to express all your feelings, desires, and needs, and you still feel well received and loved. Tell me if you want this kind of love and life. This isn't just a nice idea, it's possible. I've witnessed this transformation in hundreds of women just like you in my Secure Love Creator community. If these words are resonating in your heart, if you are feeling that mixture of recognition and hope comes with seeing your patterns clearly, then I invite you to take the next step. Join my free masterclass, Meet and Keep the One. Transform from anxious love seeker to secure queen of hearts. You'll discover the exact framework to break free from perfectionist pattern and attract quality commitment ready men who value your authentic self. Click the link below to secure your spot. Remember, you don't have to choose between being loved and being yourself. The path to secure love isn't through perfect performance, it's through authentic presence. I'd love to hear if this resonates with you. Share in the comments if you recognize this pattern in your own life and what has helped you move toward more authentic connection. Subscribe and share this video with a woman you know who might be caught in the perfectionist paradox. Until next time, remember your worth isn't what you do, it's in who you are.